about a week ago, I had a bit of insight that I think is important to share. And I've been giving it more thought. And the insight that I had came about through my play in a therapy game. Those of you who subscribe to my channel might recall me doing a couple of videos about this game that I was going to play. A therapeutic game developed by a video game designer that she used to help herself overcome a serious bout of depression. And it's basically a game where you pretend that you're a superhero, and you have to do things during the day to increase the level, your levels of your different powers that you have, whatever powers your own individual superhero might have. And you've got to take on quests, like heroic quests, do things that are going to be helpful to others and these kind of things. So I started playing this game, and I've been playing it, but been playing it for several months. But last week I was considering quitting the game, and there was a morning when I was really mulling it over whether I wanted to continue playing or not. I created a Facebook page where I've been documented all my play of the game. It's called Salubrious Indulgence. And yeah, the other week I was like, I don't know if I want to play anymore. I'm not really feeling motivated by the game anymore. That was one voice in my head telling me the game is not motivating me anymore. It's already done its work. I'm in a much better place now than I was when I started playing the game, and at least in good part as a result of playing the game did its therapeutic work. Maybe it's time to let go of the game. That's one voice. Another voice was telling me, nah, the only reason you're trying to let go of the game is because you've been the last couple of weeks, maybe month, you've been kind of stalled. You're not seeming to go anywhere new with the game, and you're not seeming to get many gains. So maybe you're just being like a spoiled kid and you want to like upend the game and quit because it's not going your way. That was another voice. So there was this one morning where I was really considering whether I want to continue playing or not, and ultimately I decided I was going to continue playing because I can't really risk the possibility that it's the second voice is true, that I'm just quitting because I'm not living up to the game, and when I start to lose the game I'm going to quit. What I should be doing is immersing myself further into the game, maybe, perhaps. So I decided to keep going, but that morning I wrote a really nice post, and I've been monitoring 5 different health levels: spiritual health, physical health, relational health, cognitive health, and symbiotic health. And then I've been doing my hero quests. But that morning when I reviewed each of my different my metrics on each of those different health categories, at one point I had this insight. And my insight was that, some of my behavior, some of what led me into this game was that I think I became disappointed in humans, in people, and I decided to try to kind of punish them by holding back my superpowers. I do have some talents. Especially intellectual talents. But I have other talent. I have writing talents. I some powers, so to speak, that when I do use them, when I put them to full use, many people benefit. I mean, it trickles through the whole world. I've seen it happen. That things that I do when I really utilize my powers helps a lot of people. And I think, when the new administration came into the college, and I knew that these guys didn't like me, just basically because of jealousy and racism and these kind of things, and that they were given power over me, I decided to punish the people by withdrawing my powers. I would by stop using my powers, right? And there's many ways to do that. One of the ways is to use, to go into addictions to slow yourself down so you're unable to use your powers. And it's funny, like in the last year, I did watch several of my friends die. One of my good friends, my partner on the Beaver bundle, and really, really good friend, the late Marvin Caffrobe. I watched him die from addictions. And, when he was going through all this, there was one point when everything was lining up with him. Everything was great. Like, he was working as my research assistant, but really we were kind of partners in the research. And the research was amazing where it was going. And he was in the University of Lethbridge. He was moving towards getting his degree. I was opening up teaching opportunities for him at the college because of his specialized knowledge. He had a brand new house. He had a wife, 4 kids, and he was part of the Beaver bundle. Everything was lining up for him. Everything was looking good. He was looking like he was moving toward a solid future. And then he went into self-destructive mode, and drugs and drinking, and ultimately killed himself. This just destroyed everything, and killed himself. And while he was doing it, I grabbed onto that popular narrative that what's happening is that he has a fear of success kind of a thing going on. He's afraid of success. Everything was so good for him. Everything was lining up for him. He couldn't face it. He had to self-destruct. He doesn't feel like he deserves it, perhaps. Now that I've had this insight, I think that's a bullshit narrative. I don't think that's what's happening at all. I think what was happening is that Marvin saw that he was, perhaps this is what happened. Marvin saw that he was starting to reap the rewards for his powers. He was starting to be put into social positions that were reflections of his powers, but there was this holdback. He didn't have this, he didn't have this degree or whatever. He didn't have the credentials on paper. It was holding him back, and I think he decided to, because there were obstacles being put in his way, and but he really had some superpowers, some talents. I think he decided to withdraw those talents and say, well, fuck you guys. I know what I'm worth, and I know what I can offer society, and I'm not going to give it to you because you don't think I'm worth it unless I have this silly piece of paper. And I think this happens in many ways all the time to a lot of people. I'm not saying it's the whole complete answer to everything, as far as addictions and self-sabotaging behaviors go. But I'm saying that I do think there's a real important truth in there, and it needs to be considered that this isn't about a feeling of depreciated worth, self-worth. This is about feeling aggrieved. And everybody has superpowers. Everybody can be a hero. And what happens is, I think people withdraw themselves. They withdraw their superpowers. They refuse to answer the call to help the world because they see that what they have to offer isn't being appreciated enough. That's my insight.